On a day where we're seeing a lot of weakness right now in the equity space, a big turnaround, I think, from some of the euphoria that we saw just last week.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that the Trump trade taking more than a pause right now. We're down a little more than 2% from those all-time highs on the S&P 500 that we saw on the 11th earlier this week. Maybe everybody's just waiting for NVIDIA next week. Maybe that's what it is.
You know, the S&P 500 next Thursday, so this would be the session after NVIDIA reports. The S&P is supposed to swing about 0.9% in either direction that day. And also, NVIDIA's one-day implied move is around 8%. So that's actually above the 5% average it had averaged over the last 8 quarters. So still pricing at a big move for next Thursday, guys.
You know, maybe we're going from Trump trade to kind of digesting a Trump reality, because Jeffries put out a note saying that Apple faces a worst-case hit of $256 per iPhone if those tariffs of 60% that he's proposed do get put in place.
Do you think we'll see exemptions for companies such as Apple or a company such as Tesla, for example?
It depends if Tim Apple pleases Donald Trump.
That's a blast
I'm sorry,
from the
Tim
past.
Cook. Remember
Tim
how he
Apple
called
is,
him
I think, what he goes by during the administration.
I like
yeah.
And it gets to the idea, too, of just how academic all this is right now. Like I said, we're 2 weeks removed from a week and a half removed from the election. And, of course, a couple of months removed from the actual inauguration.
Yeah.
And of course, a lot of these people taking their jobs. So a lot of distance between now and when we actually get a more definitive picture here of exactly what those policies will be and whether there'll be any exemptions to them. Let's walk you through the numbers here. Energy ringing the closing bell on the NYSE with the Dow Jones Industrial Average down more than 300 points, or about 0.7% on the day. The S&P down more than 70 points, or 1.3%, while the NASDAQ Composite moving lower by 400 points, or about 2.2%. The NASDAQ 100 down 2.4%. Your Russell 2000, your S&P mid caps, as well as Dow Transports, each down more than 1% on the day.
All right, we do see in the S&P 500, 178 stocks did move higher today. Let's go ahead and call that 180 as they get settled. Scarlet, 321 to the downside.
Yeah, and the sector underperformers really overwhelmed the gainers here. Tech down 2.4%, led by chip makers. Healthcare losing almost 2%, but for the week, they are the worst performers, down more than 5.5%. And communication services losing about 1.8%. Your outperformers are limited to the utilities, traditional safe haven, financials up about 0.5%, and the REITs gaining just 0.2%.
Okay, let's talk about some gainers. I was able to find a little green in the major indices today. I want to start with shares of Disney, higher by more than 5% today, rising for a third day in a row. This week, Disney shares posting a gain of 16%. That's its best weekly performance in 24 years. Pretty remarkable. The company did report that fourth quarter sales and profit beat Wall Street estimates. That was yesterday. The earnings guidance, though, for the next 3 years, that was seen as a really big deal in terms of looking ahead to how the company is going to perform over the next 3 years and the confidence in its long-term strategy. We saw a handful of banks increase their price targets on the stock. So that led shares higher again for a third day in a row, up by more than 5%.
That's the best performer on the week in the S&P.
It's pretty remarkable to see.
I didn't realize that.
So we'll see maybe Bob Iger stays a few more years?
Oh, gosh.
Maybe.
From your lips to God's ears. Yeah,
yeah, maybe. Hey, did you see Palantir's up more than close to 250% so far this year?
I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty wild. Shares surged today, actually, by more than 11%. Check this out. This is all because the company said it's moving from the New York Stock Exchange to the NASDAQ. And the idea here, with at least investors sending shares higher, is that, okay, now it could be included in the NASDAQ 100, and that would force some, more buying of the shares if it's included in that index. So that's going to happen.
Behold the power of the Qs, Tim.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to.
It's so true. Funds may be being forced to buy shares as a result of that. So look, shares higher today by more than 11%, 250% so far this year. Just remarkable stuff. That is, by the way, happening November 25th is when they're leaving the New York Stock Exchange and going to the NASDAQ on the 26th. And then finally, Bloom Energy Corp shares just surging higher today. This is a pretty remarkable one, close to 60%. Most ever. This after American Electric Power said it would use Bloom's fuel cells to supply data centers. These fuel cells, they run on natural gas, but they can switch to hydrogen if that fuel becomes more broadly available and affordable. And when they do run on hydrogen, they produce no greenhouse gas emissions. That gives data center operators a way to meet their climate goals. Once again, Bloom Energy up by 60% today.
I'll go ahead and grab those decliners. Going to start off with some healthcare-related names here, since that was the second worst performing sector in the index for the S&P 500 today. Moderna, mRNA is the ticker symbol, down more than 7%. Its worst day since actually November 11th. This is the third biggest decliner in the S&P 500. That did come, of course, after President-elect Donald Trump said on Thursday they did plan to nominate vaccine skeptic Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to lead the health department. And also, if you're looking at the S&P 500, actually the biotech ETF index that tracks those stocks in the S&P 500, XBI is a ticker symbol, and that also down, on pace for its worst week in about a couple of years here. And of course, if you move over and look at also ad agency stocks that also slumped on the back of Kennedy's nomination here, Omnicrom, it's actually down almost 8% here, actually its worst day since July 19th, 2023 here.
And then of course, agencies are moving on the back
yeah,
of the
no, they actually are here. So you're looking at the stocks
Why?
there as well. And two, so some of that might be because of the back of the potential possibilities that drug makers may curb advertising on television. So that's why you're seeing that down lower.
Yeah.
So not just
A lot of those
healthcare
odds, yeah.
I know. I
stocks
watch
today,
one show on
Romaine.
TV, Jeopardy, and it's literally like all ads for like various drugs. And I have no idea what any of these drugs do because they never really say. They're
But
just
they have
like,
complicated
they're like, oh, are
names.
you feeling blue? And, take Jagovia, and, you'll feel better, I guess.
But the disclaimers, that part of it is really long.
Well, it just
Yeah.
says talk to your doctor.
Yeah, so not just healthcare today, also those
think my
ad
doctor's
agency
tired of
stocks.
me,
And lastly, I'm going to point out this is the worst decline in the S&P 500 as well as the NASDAQ 100. Applied Materials had just reported earnings yesterday. MAMT is a ticker symbol on this, down 9%, worst day since October 15th here. And a lot of it had to do, not surprisingly, because of the company's revenue guidance, disappointing investors, and especially when you're looking at revenue coming from China, that actually decreased there. So that's why you're seeing that stock pressured here today.
All right, let's take a look at yields. An interesting day and an interesting week in the Treasury market. On the shorter end of the curve for the day, you are seeing yields lower, about 3 to 4 basis points for the 2-year, about 2 basis points on the 5. But you can see the longer end of the curve, yields continue to drift a little bit higher. And we should point out, though, on a weekly basis, the narrative really hasn't changed here. Yields are higher pretty much across the board. Your 2-year yield is up significantly from where it was a week ago, and your benchmark 10-year yield right around 4.437, while down from 4.5 earlier in the day, is still 13 points higher from where it was last Friday.
Hey, I got a very interesting story for you guys.
Did you? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I like how you went into that. That's a
I
good
think it has to do
segue.
with some insurance companies kind of clawing back some money here.
Another pun.
Yeah, you'll see what
Okay.
I did in a
I
second.
don't know where you're going with this.
Okay. Look at this bear suit. So for those listening on radio,
That's a bear suit?
there's a bear suit on the ground.
Like a costume.
Yeah.
4 people have been arrested.
It's like in pieces.
Well, there's a reason. After videos show fake bear attacks for insurance payouts.
Okay.
So there was a group of people who allegedly, and you can see the video right here. Tell me if this looks like a bear to you. They said that a bear broke into their vehicle. This is just one of several claims they made. This is a Rolls Royce right here. They said a bear broke into the vehicle and damaged the vehicle, and then they submitted that claim to insurance, and they submitted this video as evidence. Jess, it turns out that's not a bear at all.
It doesn't look like anything. You can't tell that that's a bear or not.
Right. So the Department of Insurance Investigation actually went through this, and they actually had a biologist from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife review the 3 alleged bear videos.
Yeah.
And they also obviously ended up finding out that it was indeed a bear suit.
I don't know what the heck I'm looking at here. But
So
I
that's
have,
bottom left
two
corner.
big questions, first of all. I mean, I've seen a lot of bears in my life. Don't
Okay.
ask why.
Really?
And I feel like they don't actually move that way. So something's up there. Also, who the heck just parks a Rolls Royce like out in the open on the street like this? Do they not have a garage?
Yeah, this is
And
LA.
what is this neighborhood?
This is
that
LA.
in? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never said. Yeah.
Rolls Royce is
LA, the
everywhere
only
there.
place in the country
See
where
some of the
people's
alleged
cars are worth
the
more than
alleged
their houses.
claw marks here as well.
Those don't look
Those are
like
claw
bear
marks?
claw marks.
Yeah, those are claw marks.
That's a claw mark? Oh, no
Alleged
wonder the
claw
insurance
marks.
company. Yeah. All right. Anyway.
Yeah, that looks all kinds
Okay.
of dodgy now. And
You know who's like with us right now? Joe Weisenthal. He's in our next segment, so he's probably wondering what we're talking about right now.
That's okay. You can fill them in. Well, speaking of animals, or maybe not those kinds of animals, there's a story in the Wall Street
I
Journal
need
today.
puns.
No, I'm not going to go with puns. Your company pays for your sick days. We know that. And the question is whether maybe they should pay for your pets' sick days. A lot of people don't have kids. They have pets. And so they're now talking, here's your pun, about paternity leave, P-A-W, leave, where you get time
That's
off to
cute.
tend to your sick pet or your new pet.
Oh.
It's kind of a niche
Look at
workplace
him.
perk, but
Look at that. Oh, wow. Oh,
If you work for the New York City government, they
That's an
might change it.
interesting choice.
Do you need
Cat?
to stay? I mean,
Yeah.
is this like taking your dog to the vet type of thing? Is that what you need time off for?
Maybe, or if your dog is sick or your
Yeah.
pet's sick and you need to go take care of that at the vets, you could take paid time off for that.
I feel like I should get a pet. I don't
Can
have a dog.
I
or
just
cat.
do it the way I do it now, which is just lie?
This is a sign to the Federal Reserve.
Isn't that what we all do right now? It's
That
like,
they
oh,
should
you
not
know.
lower rates. Right?
I'm not feeling well
When
right
people
now.
are asking for pet days off, it's a sign that the Fed should not lower rates. Hey, have a
telling
great
you.
weekend, everyone. Keep those pets safe. Keep those
What a
cars
world
safe
we live in.
from
Lock your
bear
doors.
attacks.
Lock the doors to your Rolls Royce.
Yes.
Never.
That is
never
going
would
to do
park
it
my
for our
Rolls Royce
cross-platform
on the street.
coverage of the close. We'll see you on
Where do
Monday,
you park
same
your
time,
Rolls Royce, Scarlett?
same place.
In the garage, of course.